unity and justice in Tamil Nadu and beyond.
A ripe fruit falls from the tree of service. A pure beard rests upon his chest. The world bows to his intellect. A tiger awakens within his mind. With these poetic lines, the revolutionary poet captured the essence of Periyar Ramasamy. These are not just words. They form a three-dimensional portrait of a man whose inner spirit and outward actions reshaped society. Is it true, as the poet says, that the world bows to Periyar's intellect? Yes. Evidence lies in the unveiling of Periyar's portrait at one of the most prestigious universities in the world, Oxford University, on September 4th, inaugurated by the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, Thiru M.K. Stalin, leader of the Dravidian model government. I am floating in an ocean of joy, the Chief Minister wrote on his social media page. Why does he feel this ocean of joy? Because as the ancient Tamil poet Valavar said, what greater duty can a son perform than to repay his father? But here, the father is not just a parent. Periyar is the father of a philosophy. His intellectual heirs, generations of Tamils, continue to walk with dignity because of him. 52 years have passed since Periyar's death, but his principles still echo louder each day. That pride, that legacy, is why the unveiling of his portrait at Oxford brought waves of joy. But what exactly did Periyar achieve? The state of Tamil Nadu before Periyar. When India attained independence, Tamil Nadu was among the most backward regions of the country. Today, it leads the nation in many fields, especially in education and healthcare. How was this transformation possible? Periyar struck the first blow. A society where half its population, women, are denied participation is like a body paralyzed. That is why, as early as 1929, at the very first self-respect conference held at Chengalpattu, Periyar declared that women must enjoy the same rights as men. This was decades ahead of its time, like dropping atomic bombs on the fortress of patriarchy. Conservatives trembled, but Periyar did not waver. He stood firm, campaigning tirelessly until change began. Gradually, reforms came. Women were encouraged to study. Marriage assistance schemes tied to education levels were introduced. By 1989, women were granted equal rights to ancestral property. Self-respect marriages, pioneered by Periyar since 1928, were given legal recognition under C.N. Annadurai's government. Through education, empowerment, and social reform, women began to rise. What was once a paralyzed society started to heal. Education and social transformation. Dravidian leaders crafted policies to open doors at every level. Primary education thrived under Kamaraj. Secondary education blossomed under Kalaignar Karunanidhi. Higher education reached its golden age under Chief Minister Stalin. Today, Tamil Nadu's gross enrollment ratio, GAR, in higher education stands at 52%, compared to the Indian average of just 27%. This is a historic achievement in social progress. Not only education, but Tamil Nadu also leads the nation in controlling population growth, reducing infant and maternal mortality, ensuring women's employment, life expectancy, and per capita income. All this growth can be traced back to the seeds Periyar sowed. Beyond women's liberation, Periyar did not fight only for women. Just as crucial was his battle for the oppressed castes. Ancient orthodoxy commanded, "Give a Shudra anything, but never give him education." Thus, the majority of the population remained illiterate, enslaved to the privileged few. To liberate them, Periyar wielded the weapon of social justice. demanding reservation in education and employment. As early as 1928, Muthaiya, with Justice Party support, implemented caste-based reservation in the registration department. Though later overturned, Periyar fought relentlessly, even leading student protests, until social justice was enshrined in India's constitution through Dr. Ambedkar and Nehru. This legacy expanded into Tamil Nadu's 69% reservation, the Mandal Commission's 27% quota across India, and affirmative action in education and jobs. Whenever obstacles arose, whether Supreme Court verdicts or political opposition, Tamil Nadu, guided by the Dravidian movement, fought and won. Hence the words, Tamil Nadu fights, Tamil Nadu wins. Tamil Nadu, language, culture, and identity. When Hindi was sought to be imposed in 1938, Periyar rallied Tamils to defend their linguistic pride. The victory ensured the flourishing of Tamil arts and the recognition of Tamil as a classical language. Education, jobs, dignity, all flowed from this struggle, the crusade against caste. Yet one great evil persisted, caste. Periyar declared that the only way to annihilate caste was through the weapon of rationalism. The self-respect movement fought relentlessly, weakening caste identities. That is why, uniquely in Tamil Nadu, caste surnames largely disappeared from people's names. Periyar shattered the psychological chain, the false comfort of believing one's caste stood above another. He declared that even the Shudra title was more degrading than untouchability itself, stirring the oppressed to discard caste labels and unite. Thus, the death blow was struck at the Varnashrama system. He fought not only socially, but also legally for 50 years for the right of all castes to become temple priests. Finally, in 2021, Chief Minister M.K. Stalin fulfilled Periyar's dream by appointing priests from all castes. This broke centuries of stigma, fostering social harmony and inclusivity, economic and industrial growth. The Dravidian vision did not stop with education and social reform. By attracting private investment and creating jobs, it turned Tamil Nadu into an industrial hub. It was the first state in India to craft a dedicated IT policy, laying the foundation for today's booming information technology sector. Today, Tamil Nadu leads in global industries, from space science to entrepreneurship. The guiding principle was always the same: inclusive growth. Everything for everyone. The legacy of Periyar. This was the very goal Periyar set in 1925, when he founded the self-respect movement. My enemy is domination, he declared. And so he fought for equality, for dignity, for rights. That is why Tamil Nadu today stands ahead of other Indian states in every field, and why this land is called Periyar's soil. The Dravidian model is but a continuation of that vision, a global legacy. The unveiling of Periyar's portrait at Oxford University is not just a Tamil pride, it is a milestone in global human progress. For though the self-respect movement began in Tamil Nadu, its message transcends boundaries. Its goal is not regional, but universal. Its philosophy is humanity itself. As the revolutionary poet once dreamed, the world will speak the language of self-respect. One day, the world will indeed be Periyar's world.
This has come up very well. Just imagine they started with Oxford and ended with Oxford. So give all of them a good round of applause. And I sincerely thank Kumaresan sir for taking a lot of efforts to bring the script, and Sir for making it, and Adam and Prince for making the entire documentary a memorable one in the history of University of Madras. Thank you so much.
In a society built on inequality, choosing to marry with self-respect is not just a personal. In this powerful session, Mr. Manoj Mehta and Mr. R. Vijay Shankar will share their insights on the revolutionary impact of self-respect marriages, a practice that boldly rejected caste-based rituals, religious orthodoxy, and patriarchal norms. Rooted in Tandai Periyar's vision, self-respect marriages were not just about breaking tradition. They were about building equality. I'll invite Mr. Manoj Mehta and Mr. R. Vijay Shankar on stage.
There will be two parts of the session. One where our respected author will speak for a while. Then followed by there will be a question and answer session. And even if somebody from the audience would like to speak, please raise your hand because we want to make it interactive this session. Please, thank you. So whichever you
the documentary we just saw ended with, am I audible? Yeah, I was saying the documentary we just saw, powerful as it is, ended with a visual of a grand place coming up near Trichy, the Periyar world. Yeah, and it's called Periyar world, right? And it's close to Trichy. I was lucky enough to go there along with Vijay Shankar yesterday. And after that, when we visited the university that was not very far from there, we were shown an architectural model of that whole complex. And what struck me was, okay, the idea of the statue was already discussed on the site. But what dawned on me only when I saw the architectural model was that in front of the statue, there's going to be something very, very profound, very stunning, very striking. And that is a statue of, there's going to be another statue, a smaller statue in front of this mega statue of Periyar. Do any of you know what that statue is going to be of? And that struck me even more than the statue of Periyar. Why? Because it very beautifully captures the spirit and message of Periyar. Okay, you probably did not have the fortune of seeing that model, which I did. And that statue, that smaller statue which is going to be in front of Periyar's big statue, is the statue of an abstract concept, which is a question mark. There's going to be a statue of a question mark. And the speakers preceding me were talking about how Periyar was nothing if not about raising questions, having the courage to raise questions which others would not dare do so, things that were considered, heretical, considered, unacceptable. He had the courage to do so. So I thought it was a very beautiful thing to, symbolize his message, his life's work. And therefore, in that spirit, I will end my presentation, not immediately, but a few minutes from now, with a few questions that have come to me, my mind, on the topic that has been given to me. And this topic has been given on the basis of a book I did not too long ago called Caste Pride, which is not about Periyar per se. It is not even just about Madras presidency, but it is about social reforms that were fought for by not just lower caste people, but by Hindus across the board. And what I mean by that is that you might have this binary that these social reforms were battles between upper caste and lower caste. That was not necessarily the case. There were several progressive upper caste members. There were several progressive Brahmins who fought against Brahminism, who sought to overthrow Brahminist attitudes, right? So they were also given due place. There were a whole lot of unsung heroes that came to light through this research that I did over 7 years in archives across the country. And that research showed, to my surprise, or maybe I should not be surprised, that Madras presidency was probably the the battlefield for the greatest of social reform battles. The other presidency that comes close to it is the Bombay presidency. And again, that is no surprise. So these were really the places where the envelope was pushed. These were places where very remarkable breakthroughs were made. And a lot of it, a lot of those reforms were influenced by the work done by Periyar, though he himself, as you all know, was not involved in any electoral politics. He never entered any legislature. But one of the issues that, reforms that he was closely associated with, soon after the self-respect movement was started by him in 1925, when we are celebrating the centenary of it. So within a couple of years or so, he came up with this idea of Suya Maryada marriage, self-respect marriage. And so ever since then, it's been integral to this, this whole self-respect movement. That is a site where you very directly confront deeply entrenched Brahminical notions, and therefore that emerged as one of the most sensitive aspects of the self-respect movement. Not surprisingly, therefore, in the early years of our Indian Republic, to be precise, in 1953, there was a judgment delivered by the Madras High Court. I noticed that there wasn't much work on that judgment, though it is a judgment of the High Court. It can't be, there can't be anything more public than that. But somehow it was lost sight of. So, my book is one place where you will get an extensive discussion on the shocking nature of that judgment. It was a judgment on whether Suya Maryada marriage is valid or not. It was actually a property dispute where children of Suya Maryada marriage were told by their, other family members, by cousins perhaps, that they were not legitimate children. Why? Because Suya Maryada does not conform to the traditional Hindu marriage. So that marriage cannot be valid, and the children of that marriage should be considered illegitimate, and therefore they should not be entitled to any share in the family property, right? So this question, when it went before the High Court, shockingly, the High Court took the view, the very retrograde view, that this doesn't fit in with what we traditionally believe in. The essential ingredients of marriage are not fulfilled, and therefore, it's not valid. Now, this created a crisis because by then, thanks to the influence of Periyar, a whole lot of people across the old Madras presidency, which by then had become the smaller Madras state, no, not yet, because the Madras state of 1950s, early 50s, 53, 54, still included the Telugu-speaking districts of what is today Andhra Pradesh. So, in all these areas, there were many over the years, many self-respect marriages had taken place. So the legal status of all those marriages was now under a cloud. And the children born to them were suddenly made to feel illegitimate, right? And the stigma that is attached to that. Now, this was all the direct outcome of a judgment. So there was a crisis which needed an immediate solution. And the then Chief Minister of Madras province was who? Was Rajaji. Now, you would think that he is somebody who has engaged with the issue of caste, reforms, untouchability. He was, in fact, the point man of Mahatma Gandhi, on the question of caste. So he was eminently suited to come up with a progressive solution to this problem. But no, that is not what happened. What he came up with was a bill that described Suya Maryada marriages as a non-conforming marriage. And that bill does not confer recognition on those so-called non-conforming marriages. All it does is, it offers a one-time amnesty scheme. The kind of scheme that not too long ago, say, those who were hoarding black money were given. So you come and disclose your black money, no questions will be asked, they would be regularized, and you will be exempted of the crime you have committed. It was in that spirit, it was in that very condescending manner, the Chief Minister of Madras province, as it was then called, came up with a bill that said, okay, those who made the mistake, committed the folly of marrying under the Surya Maryada system, misguided by social reformers like Periyar, they can come forward and get their marriages registered within 2 years. And then their marriages will be regularized. And what was also made clear in that bill was that henceforth no such marriages will take place because the High Court has already declared that such marriages are not valid in the eyes of law. Why? Because those customary rights were not observed. Now, this was the kind of solution he came up with. Now, in my book, because I was doing research in various archives, I unearthed the discussion that ensued within the government, between the state government and the central government on this question. Since it related to Hindu law, the Madras province had to consult the central government. The Prime Minister was Nehru. The Nehru government took a surprisingly progressive position on it and told the Rajaji government here that this is what the High Court may have said, but it warrants a review, this whole situation. You can't just tell them that the validity of your marriage is subject to registration within 2 years. You come up with a bill that would say that, whatever marriages have taken place till now under the Surya Maryada system would be made valid, and henceforth, if anybody wants to marry under that system, they need to be registered. But you can't put a ban on Surya Maryada, nor can you say that the previous marriages will their validity will be subject to registration. That was an unfair solution. Is the position that the Nehru government took. And when I say Nehru government, I don't mean the Prime Minister himself. Many of these discussions that take place in these file notings are made by bureaucrats. So I'm mentioning this because the bureaucrat who did this was one Murdeshwar, who was joint secretary in the law ministry. And the reason I mention his name is because his daughter happens to be somebody who went on to make her mark as a diplomat and as an author, Lakshmi Puri, who's none other than the wife of somebody who is a part of the Modi government, Hardeep Puri. So we don't know if Hardeep Puri would agree with the position, the very progressive, anti-Brahminical position that his father-in-law took as joint secretary in the law ministry, a very progressive position that he took. Anyway, that aside, when this is the response that Rajaji government got from Nehru government, Rajaji was very upset and he wrote back to the then Home Minister, who was his successor, who was none other than Pant. You may recall that before he became Chief Minister of Madras Presidency, Rajaji was briefly Home Minister at the center after Patel died. So he was in effect writing to his successor that, this is not what I expected of you, that we need to take action on this urgently. You should give us the go-ahead. So when he saw that, he was putting his own prestige at stake, so the Nehru government yielded. But then as it happened, the bill could not proceed further because some of you may recall that the Rajaji government itself, ended. The tenure of the Rajaji government ended. For what reason? Again, because of a casteist, what was called a casteist education scheme, which reduced, the school time from 5 to 3, so that those 2 hours can be devoted by those children to learning hereditary occupations of their parents. So this was considered to be, a backdoor entry being given to Brahminism, and that created a furore, and that led to, Rajaji being replaced by Kamraj. So all that is history, familiar to all of you. But that's not what I'm talking about, but about this self-respect movement. So now, this unresolved matter, therefore, gave the opening for DMK in the subsequent election, which was in the 1957 election, to promise in their manifesto that they will be taking up the cause of giving validity, to come up with a legislation that will confer validity on the Suya Maryada marriage. And they were in a position to fulfill that promise only when they came to power a decade later. In the 67 election, as you all know, Annadurai came to power. And true to his word, the very first legislation that he undertook, this was despite the fact that in the 67 election, Periyar did not support DMK. I mean, this is a political aside. But, this kind of political issues did not, influence the course of the way the DMK leaders of the time or the DK leaders thought. These principles, these values were higher than these, electoral differences. So, though Periyar did not support Annadurai in the 67 election, he had no hesitation in proceeding with that promise of amending the law, and he went ahead and pulled off a remarkable feat. What it involved was that after that Madras High Court judgment of 1953, in an unrelated development, the Nehru government in 1955 came up with the Hindu Marriage Act. Now, Hindu Marriage Act had a provision called Section 7, which said that for a marriage to be valid, for a Hindu marriage to be valid, it needs to have observed customary rites. Now, this was a euphemism for Brahmanism. Customary rites would mean what? Custom. Custom would mean that some practice becomes a custom, a binding custom, a sacred custom, only if it has been in force for a long time, for generations, right? And it should be widely recognized. So this would mean an indirect way of reinforcing and propping up, perpetuating Brahminical rites and saying that that would be mandatory. So no Hindu marriage is valid unless it complies with Brahminical rites. Though that's not how the law puts it. The law puts it as customary rites. But in effect, on the ground, it meant Brahminical rites, right? So this is something which the self-respecters and members of the DMK were cognizant of, and therefore they were fighting for this reform. And in 1967, when they got that opportunity, they came up with that bill, and this was addressed through a local amendment to the Hindu Marriage Act. Hindu Marriage Act is an all-India law passed by the central government of the Nehru era. Now, Annadurai came up with a Tamil Nadu legislation. Tamil Nadu name had come a few months later. I mean, one of the big changes that he brought about was he renamed Madras province as Tamil Nadu. So originally it was called Madras Amendment. So the Madras Amendment said that, this customary right is no more mandatory. Now the way this man Annadurai put it was that his whole emphasis, in keeping with the original formulation of Periyar, it was all about insisting on privileging equality, on making equality of genders, equality between the two partners, absolutely non-negotiable. That is central to it. What is central to the marriage is no more compliance with Brahminical rights. Why? Because it was recognized by the reformers here of this great province with greater clarity than in any other province, that this was inherently discriminatory against women, and it was discriminatory against lower castes. Why? Because unless your marriage is solemnized by a Brahmin priest, and he might have a different set of rituals for Shudras, for the lower castes. That doesn't, the Madras High Court judgment of 1953, one of the shocking aspects of it is, it recognizes that for Shudras, for lower castes, and for Atishudras, for Dalits, I mean, between them, the Shudras and Atishudras, if I may use the terminology, used by Phule for the first time. Now, or in modern parlance, Bahujans and Dalits, if you count them together, they constitute overwhelming majority of Hindus. But the Madras High Court of judgment of 1953 had the gumption to say that so what if for the majority of Hindus, the rituals that are prescribed by Brahmins traditionally are of a lower order, meaning they will not use mantras from Vedas. They will use mantras from Puranas. And they will not use the sacred fire, because sacred fire is forbidden to non-dvijas, meaning those who are not considered twice born, right? So what if you are treated as inferior? This is what is prescribed by ceremonial rites, and therefore you have to comply with it. Now, what was overlooked by the Madras High Court in the process was that something changed in 1950, which is the Constitution came into force, where we were committed in absolute terms to equality. right? So which meant that anything that is inconsistent with our constitutional commitment to equality should be reviewed and amended or struck down. But this is not how even judges were able to see. I mean, they were betraying their Brahminical bias in holding that, the traditional form of marriage, ceremonial rites are still mandatory. And any attempt to reform that form of marriage on the basis of equality is unacceptable, right? So in 1967, this is what was addressed, and we have, benefited from it since then. Unfortunately, instead of that benchmark set by Tamil Nadu government becoming a precedent for the rest of the country and inspiring other states to follow its example, what we see is that it is still confined to Tamil Nadu. And I must say that what is also a cause for concern is that in the 50-odd years, it's close to 50 years since it was enacted, it hasn't still become the norm here. The numbers are there for whatever they are. Like last year, a minister said in the last 8 years, some 12,000 Suya Maryada marriages have been registered. Maybe the actual number is greater because not all Suya Maryada marriages are probably registered. But even then, there's no denying the fact that it is still largely, not the norm. The norm is still the Brahminical form of marriage, despite all the awareness that has been created by the self-respect movement, and despite, there being only Dravidian governments of one shade or the other since 1967 here. This is still, so this is an indication of how a lot has been done, but a lot more has to be done for the benefit of not only Tamil Nadu, but for also setting an example for the rest of the country to follow. As I said a while ago, before I end my presentation and we initiate this dialogue with Vijay, I have a few questions inspired by what I saw yesterday. I want to put this whole marriage question, the Suya Maryada marriage question, in perspective through these questions. So to my mind, the questions raised by Periyar with respect to Suya Maryada marriage, I mean, he's of course long dead, but the battles he fought and in the manner in which we interpret them and carry them forward, this is how I see it. So one is, one important aspect of this 1967 legislation is that, as I said, customary rights are no more mandatory. So an important element of customary right was what? Tali or Mangal Sutra. Now, that is a gendered symbol of patriarchy. That is a unilateral gesture, meaning it is supposed to be a union, a consensual union of two equals, yet for it to be solemnized, there is a gesture, a very important gesture that is made by only one side, which is that the husband ties the tali and the wife does not do anything that is similar in nature or kind. So why this one-sidedness, right? So this was a question that Annadurai addresses during that debate. And I would urge, you may either see my book in English, and I'm happy to say that only recently, thanks to Vijay, there's a Tamil version available, or you may see the assembly debate itself, because I quoted from that assembly debate. In bulk of what I have written in the book is all based on this kind of irrefutable official archival material, right? So there he addresses that. So he says, okay, I concede that not all may have imbibed this message of Suya Maryada to the same extent. In the case of some, it may not be possible to be as radical as somebody else. So I do not insist that you dispense altogether with Tali, but Tali is no more mandatory. But if some people still want to have it as an option, it is there. It's available to you. There's no ban on it, right? And in the place of Tali, what does he say? So the question I'm asking is to traditionalists, to those who directly or indirectly still believe in the Brahminical form of marriage and who believe that that is the only form that is right. That is what Madras High Court believed in 53, and it's no surprise, it should come as no surprise to us that many people in our society still believe so. And those who believe so are not necessarily Brahmins. I mean, there are Brahminical-minded people among non-Brahmins too. So they all believe. And obviously, as the figures show, majority of people even in Tamil Nadu, despite the option available of Suya Maryada, still opt for the Brahminical form of marriage. So I'm going against the grain. As somebody said, yeah, this whole movement is about swimming against the current. So in that spirit, I'm asking this question. So why still Thali or Mangal Sutra, which is a gendered symbol, how is it consistent with the constitutional commitment to equality? The next question, why Kanyadan? It's again a very blatant form of patriarchy. It's about, there are some commentators who put it as chattel. Chattel means treating the bride as a movable property. So the dominion, the ownership of that property moves from the bride's father to the bridegroom when Kanyadan is performed. Is this how we should be treating a voluntary consensual union of two equals in this day and age? Why is it that so many people continue to adhere to this practice so unthinkingly, even though it is so obviously inconsistent with self-respect, even though it attacks their dignity? Even if the husband does not have any such intent in his head to treat his wife as an inferior, why do we still have to, even symbolically, still pay respects to that custom, still observe that custom? Why can't we just do away with it and establish the principle that should now be considered customary rights in the case of the rest of the country? And in the case of Tamil Nadu, you don't even have to establish that, because you are not obliged to show that what you have done, the marriage you have performed, is according to customary rights. Because here you are lucky enough to have the option of saying, we are doing a self-respect marriage, which is not obliged to comply with customary rights, right? So my third question is, this is, very, in a wonderfully subversive manner, this is how Periyar justified it, and this is how DMK took it up, which is that when the Brahminical, in the Brahminical literature, in Hindu literature, which is all shaped by Brahminical attitudes, there are 8 forms of marriage that are recognized traditionally in their scriptures. Among those 8 forms of marriage, the one that is valorized, the one that is respected the most, and therefore the one that is practiced most widely, is called the Brahma form of marriage, in which the bride has technically no say. In reality, she might have given her consent, but the rituals do not give any space, formally do not recognize any say for her in that matter. She implicitly surrenders to whatever is decided by her elders. So you go ahead. Sorry, am I overshooting? Okay, I'll try and end in the next 5 minutes. Sorry. Oh, okay. Sorry, thanks for warning me that I overshot. Yeah. So where was I? Yeah, it's about this. So what was said by them was, there's this Brahma form of marriage, which is what is valorized in our Section 7 of the Hindu Marriage Act. So what the way the self-respecters justified Suya Maryada marriage was, they said, we insist that there can be a non-Brahminical form of marriage within the framework of Hindu law. Why do we say so? Because one of the 8 recognized forms of marriage is called Gandharva Vivaha. In Gandharva Vivaha, there is it's a union of 2 equals, both of who give their consent. It is only when the woman gives consent, it's only when she expressly wants to marry, she has to express her consent. In the Brahma form of marriage, she doesn't have to express her consent at all. Unlike, say, in Islam, the bride has to say, Kabul hai. She has to show her consent in some form, if not in words, through a gesture. But in the Brahma form of marriage, which is considered the purest, it is so pure that the woman has no say in the matter at all. She completely surrenders to that. That's how it is conceptualized. But in the Gandharva form of marriage, which is not considered such a desirable form, the woman has a say. But it is one of the 8 recognized forms. So they said it is very much within the 8 recognized forms. So should we not then formally accept that and say that, that Section 7 of the Hindu Marriage Act, which says, as I said, customary rights, should it not be reviewed and reinterpreted in the light of this debate? And, okay, I think, related terms like, should this whole churn not lead to reviewing the language you use? Like there was a conscious attempt here. In Sanskrit, there is the term for husband is what? Pati. That's how you have terms like Sita Pati. Sita Pati means the Lord, the master of Sita. Lakshmi Pati, the Lord or master. So this is a term that you use, which is in keeping with the spirit of the Brahminical form of marriage, where the husband is the master and the wife is in an inferior position. So should you, in the case of Suya Maryada marriage, there's a conscious attempt to review these terms. So they came up with Tamil equivalents of companion or equal partner. So should we not be proceeding in that spirit? In that spirit, would that not be truly consistent with the constitutional commitment to equality and fraternity? By the way, fraternity talks about assuring dignity to all, and that is no different from self-respect. So my plea is that Periyar might have called himself an atheist, but much of what he was saying was consistent with Hinduism at its best. If you look at the Shruti literature, the Vedantic literature of how the same divinity pervades everybody. So all these notions of, gender bias, this caste bias, all that would go away. So, and when you look at this in the light of constitutional spirit, this is more in conformity with the Constitution than 7. The contest is between Section 7, which is talking about customary rights, which is a short form for, and which is a euphemism for Brahminical rights, versus 7A that was introduced by Anna's government, which is about Suya Maryada. So I'm saying this should become mainstream, not just in Tamil Nadu, but across the country. I think I spoke enough. Thank you very much for your patience.
Hello. Thank you for this opportunity, Dr. Armstrong and Dr. Bolivan and all the organizers of this moment, self-respect moment. This conference is really a milestone in the Okay. It's a milestone in the history of the university and the state also. So I welcome Manoj Mita to the land of Periyar once again. He came to this land of Periyar as a researcher long back. Nobody would have recognized him. He would have just visited the archives and other places. He would have met some people. Now, the land of Periyar welcomes you because what you done and my translation of the work, it resonates with a large number of people in India because all the issues, all the things you bring out in this book have been, these issues have been raised in Tamil Nadu 100 years ago by Periyar, 100 years ago. And this is state, as in the morning, Mr. Raja said, there were two movements that were, two ideologies were at loggerheads. One is right-wing ideology, Sanatana Dharma. The other thing, both came up in the same year, 1925. Now, very strangely, by quirk of circumstances, after 100 years, one ideology is in power at the center, the other ideology is power at the state. Now they are meeting first time in the history of India. They are face to face, they are facing, and this state is so far is standing up to that ideology, and it has not allowed it to enter Tamil Nadu so far. So so far. So it's a qualified statement. So that's why there is so much resonance. Your book, we are going to have a book function in the Periyar Thadal. Again, who is giving that Periyar Thadal? The self-respect movement welcomes your book. That is the greatest of the state. So my question is, it's not a question. See, you've done, the book is really remarkable. I wanted this conversation only to introduce the book. His book name is Caste Pride. I translated it some time ago. It's called Sadi Permai. So it was released 1 month ago at Coimbatore. But for a strange coincidence, this happens to be the centenary of the self-respect movement. So it has a lot to do with the self-respect movement, and it proves whatever the movement has been propagating, it proves right. Sanatana forces, what they are doing, because his book title is Caste Pride and the Battle for... Hello, sorry. So the book title is Caste Pride and Battle for Equality in Hindu India. That puts in a nutshell what the book is all about. See, it has some 598 pages, extensive research, really hard work. It makes me envious because I've been writing a lot of books, I've been translating, but this work is really stupendous work. It raises a lot of questions. It gives a lot of theoretical insights with a lot of empirical data. So what I want to ask you or explain to the audience is, he resigned from Times of India 10 years ago just to do this book. He worked for 10 years on one single book. So this book is not, it doesn't read like a thesis. Thesis is a bit dry. We know that we have many doctors here, aspiring doctors, but this is very, very, very journalistic account. So I want to ask you something. It's not just, you didn't write it for any kind of award or any kind of recognition. There is some passion behind it. Somebody has pointed out, one of your reviewers, what drove you to take up this task, caste, the most complex question, most unaddressed question in India, even after 100 years. Even after 100 years of self-respect movement, the questions you raised, what really drew you to this work and with so much passion and involvement?
Thanks, Vijay, for raising this kind of a very personal question. I was not quite prepared for that. But had I known that it was going to take this long, I worked on Caste Pride, this volume that you see. I worked on this for 7 years, and it took another year for it to be published. And after that, the last 2 years, I've been engaged with working on a sequel. I mentioned it in this book also, that unwittingly, I unearthed so much archival material because I essentially look at legal aspects of caste. As you all know, I mean, this is an academic institution, so you know that caste has been worked on extensively by academics. It's one of the most funded subjects. If you go to any library, you will see many shelves devoted to caste. Even then, when it comes to legal aspects of caste, the intersection of law and caste somehow remained neglected. It could be because bulk of this work was done by historians or sociologists or anthropologists who were not very comfortable dealing with the legal nitty-gritty. I mean, this is just my guess. That was the reason why somebody like me, who represents a confluence of law and journalism. I'm a law graduate myself, and as a journalist, I worked extensively on legal, human rights, and social justice issues. And that's how this turned, this happened. Had I known that it was going to take this long, I would perhaps have hesitated. Having said that, let me clarify that what I originally intended to write was complete a trilogy on mass violence, because my earlier books dealt with mass violence. The first one was on the 1984 Delhi carnage, and the second one was on the 2002 Gujarat carnage. So my third book was meant to be on another form of mass violence that I have often dealt with as a journalist, which is caste atrocities, especially the ones that take place on a large scale. So there were lots of such instances, and I thought that I must look at those instances and see why there was so much impunity for it, despite there being a special law called the Prevention of Atrocities Act. And you may know that this law is not only stringent, it is also considered by some to be draconian. So if it is so, why is it that there is so much impunity for it? Why is it that in the most blatant cases of mass violence targeting Dalits, where there is so much evidence, the courts end up acquitting these culprits on the flimsiest of grounds? Why was this happening over and over again? There was a pattern. Now, when I was looking at it in the beginning, I felt that I couldn't be just taking up case after case, instance after instance, and saying that, but then ultimately this is how it has ended. Now, after a point, it will become predictable to the reader also. It is like I don't even need to read this chapter because I know how it will end. So I need to go under the surface. I need to get to the bottom of it. I need to understand where the structural bias is coming from, because of which, some arm or the other of the Indian state, whether it is the police or the prosecution or the trial court or even appellate courts, have been complicit in this cover-up, have let off the convicts on the flimsiest of grounds. To understand that, I looked at the existing literature. I found no guidance from the existing literature because, as I said, very little or nothing has been done on legal aspects of caste. So that prompted me to go to archives. Archives is not something that I, as a journalist, am accustomed to going to. That's really the domain of academics like you. But I ended up going there by default. And by default, I ended up discovering a whole wealth of unexplored legal material on caste.
Yeah.
It was...
I think we should.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for this. I just wanted the audience to know what kind of work has gone into it. It was not a personal question, because this passion, there is some commitment, social commitment, which Tamil Nadu stands for. So, but one more thing, it's not just an observation. See, we are living in an age of Amrit Varsha, that is Amrita Kalam. That is 75 years. And we are living in digital age, digital transformation, everything people are talking about it. But caste persists. You mentioned it in your epilogue. Despite all the modern sciences, all the advances in science, caste persists because caste reinvents itself, comes in new forms, whatever the social progress. So mindset, you raise questions about Tali. No, these practices were conditioned. These were conditioned for 2000 years. And we are just overcoming it. And we are standing in forefront, Tamil Nadu state. So it is progress from that very backward state to this. So one example of even modernity, modern technology is used for caste or gender violence. One instance I'll cite and I'll end the conversation, because there was some 20 years ago, there was ultrasound scanning. Ultrasound to find out gender of the, see, that was science discovery, but that was used for female feticide. So caste will come and again, and we have to wage an ideological battle. Your book will definitely be of some help in this ideology. That's what I want to say. Thank you. We have time only for this.
Not giving any time for you to raise questions.
Those who are interested can go to Periyar Thiral this evening at 6:30 because he is addressing there. But now this is very important. Yeah.
Request Professor Marapan to come and honor our Vijay Shankar. The Marapan teaches in Presidency College, History faculty. He is organizing bigger meeting based on our ideologies. I request Professor Mahendran, faculty from Tamil Nadu Open University to honor Mita now. Thank you, Mita.
I thank Mr. Manoj Mehta sir, and also I thank Mr. Vijay Shankar sir for sharing your valuable thoughts. Breaking chains of caste, patriarchy and blind faith. Periyar's legacy is not a memory but a method. Join us as we explore this discussion brings together voice from the modern generation to reflect on the enduring relevance of Periyar E.V. Ramasami's self-respect movement. It radicals challenge to social hierarchies, that is, social justice, equality, and rational thought, and how today's youth are interpreting, adapting, and advancing its ideals in contemporary society. Panel discussion on Periyar's self-respect legacy today and tomorrow in the eyes of modern generation. And the panelists are Ms. P. Romila Batma, Ms. Erilaracy, Dr. P. M. Yarini, Ms. K. Sajitra, and Mr. Sunil Prabhakar and Ms. Ruksha. I request Dr. G. Olivanan sir to take part of this panel, and I welcome Dr. G. Olivanan sir and the panelists on the stage.
Thank you, and this is going to be truly an exciting session, my dear friends, because this session comprising all youngsters, how Periyar's ideology influenced them. Some of them are not from the home of, for people like me, I'm a second generation Periyarist. But for some of them, today it is not going to be. They have adopted Periyar's ideologies by reading Periyar books. May I welcome one after another to go and occupy? Yes, please. Welcome. Let me quickly. Okay, fine. Starting from that extreme left, that is. Settled. Starting from that one. See, look at that. This is Periyar. You see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 women and only one gentleman. What is this? Yes. You guys pushed him to the other end, right? Starting from, very enterprising Sunil Prabhakar, who is popularly known as Tamilan Prabhakar. Welcome, Tamilan. Then next to him is a young lady from Bangalore, but actually she is from Nagarkoilu. She is Sajitra, followed by Dr. Yarini. She is quite well known, popular in the DMK circle. Followed by my very young friend, Romila Batma. Romila is daughter of a well-known couple, Swapna and Giridhar. Then after that is, yes, you have been seeing this lady from the morning. Not lady, she's an young girl, but the way she was commanding every one of us, phenomenal. Research scholar, Arasi. I would say if people like Professor Dr. Armstrong, Kumaresan, all of us, we have done some, planning and other things. There are only few people who have gone beyond the board, worked tirelessly for the last 5-6 days, sleepless nights. That is none other than Ruxana. Fantastic Ruxana, because she brought out that abstract, which we thought would not have happened. Please take your seat. It's quite interesting. Originally, the panel was only 3 or 4, but now it's increased. Very good, actually. But be assured that the session will go only for 1 hour, followed by an exciting, cultural program. Shall we start from the other side or this side? In the Pakama? Okay. You take the mic. Ruxana, as I said, Ruxana is not, the second generation. I would say that, she imbibed from so-and-so, great-grandfather, nothing of that kind. I was quite surprised when she was introduced to me by Professor Dr. Armstrong. Her ideologies, her vision, everything is phenomenal. Let's hear from Ruxana. I call her fondly Ruku because many times I find it difficult to pronounce. So Ruku, tell me how Periyar impacted in your life.
I am actually a woman who have to follow some rituals, customs, because I have to pray 5 times a day. I hope you understand.
Yeah.
I actually read Periyar and I come over, I am sitting here. That is the ideology and identity of mine.
Who introduced Periyar works to you?
My parents brought me in such a way that I have to follow certain. I was not at all pray. I used to go to compared to my other relatives. I am totally different from them. Actually, my parents brought me in such a way. From them I learned Periyar. Recently I got married. Fortunately, he is also followed Periyar followist.
Unfortunately,
so,
wait.
So
Wait. Unfortunately, if he is not.
I make him too. Fortunately.
That's beautiful. Okay, over to Arasi. Yes.
Thank you.
Arasi, you as your name suggests, the most beautiful women in this hall. Tell me, you are I think your second generation, right? I know you're third generation. Okay. Third generation. Are you not tired of hearing Periyar in your house, or do you have imbibed? After some time it becomes tradition also. But have you imbibed Periyar's ideas in you? What is that Periyar's women rights and social equality means to you?
Yes, good evening, and myself, Larasi.
If you want to talk, you can come and talk here. If you want to talk, you can come and talk here. I'll go and sit. Because if you talk there, then it's very difficult. She has prepared for this last 48 hours. Go ahead.
Yes, I'm the third generation in my family, and in childhood itself we learned Periyar Anna Kalenjar daily. In my house also we have all the 3 photos only. The morning wake up and even night when I'm going to sleep, I saw those photos only. So it's very day by day I'm learning many things from new about Periyar. So it's not boring and all.
Give me one of his thoughts on women rights, which do you think impresses you a lot?
Yes, first of all, as a literature student, I learn about feminism. Whenever we talk about feminism, we talk about first wave, second wave, third wave, and all. In 21st century only, we are asking for the right for reproductive rights and body autonomy. But in Periyar, 1940 itself, 30 itself, he talk about that's reproductive rights, because marriage is not customs, and motherhood should be in uh, that was forced to the women. But he talked about in 1930s itself. But in western, we now only we are asking for that, so that make me more.
These are all good theories, but I want to know from you,
Yes.
has it in any way impacted you in your life?
Yes, in my personal life itself, I am proudly say that my parents had a self-respect marriage. But when it comes to my life, that society put a lot of pressure in that. But I got, unfortunately, I got married. But in my life, I want to take.
Many of them in the audience also would like to subscribe to that view that unfortunately they got married. Good, go ahead.
Yes, but in my life, there is a situation to take a big decision to separate from that my married life. So because of this third generation and all, my parents, my relatives, and my friends have a idea that death daughter is better than divorced daughter. Because nowadays we are learning that we are hearing, and continuously we are hearing the suicide committed by the women because of dowry harassment and failure in married life. But I took a now only I can able to see that okay, I get a very strong decision, and I am strong in that too. So
Thank you,
that
thank you.
I get that from Periyar's
Thank you.
thoughts. Thank you.
Romila, are you the youngest in this panel? Or next only to me, right? Okay. Romila, what is that name? Something different, right?
Yeah, it means heartfelt in Bengali, or so I have been told.
Okay. Tell me about your experience as a proud daughter of, very successful practicing lawyers. They'll be very busy. But in spite of that, you are so different. I'm seeing you from the childhood. What does it make you as an atheist?
Okay, so I did not exactly grow up with the teachings of Periyar, but my parents are Periyarists, so that is all I've ever known. There was no before Periyar for me. Uh, so atheism, when I was about 4 years old, I was still believing in God because all my family used to pray. And once I suddenly realized we didn't have a puja room in our house, so I asked my dad, why do we not have a puja room? And then, to my surprise, he said he doesn't believe in God. But my parents did make sure to tell me that they don't believe in God, but I can if I wanted to. It was just my own choice, but they did not believe in God. So that was my first beginning to atheism. So other than that, in school, it's not a big deal that I'm an atheist, but when people realized I was an atheist, they could not fathom that I did not worship anybody. So everybody started calling me devil worshipper or like ghost friend. It was all in fun. They weren't like bullying me or anything, but they are not able to imagine a life where somebody does not believe in God.
Did you get into any kind of conversation with them, and did you try to corner them with? Because I remember when I was a school kid, one of them asked, if you don't pray, you won't get good marks, you will fail. I asked them immediately, what about those people who failed already are the believers? So there is no correlation at all. Something like that, did you encounter?
So there have been a lot of encounters. I do not intentionally go into such conversations because I am the odd one out. There's everybody crowding around me who will ask me, why don't you believe in God? So there are a lot of questions that I've gotten. For instance, why not just believe in God so that in case he exists, you will go to heaven? For that, one of the questions is, which God do I believe? There are a lot. And secondly, belief is not a choice. It's what you believe and what you think. There's also one experience where one of my friends asked, when he realized I was an atheist, he said, So you can murder people and you won't, there's no consequence for you. So my response to that is, if hell is the only thing that is keeping you from murder, I don't think you're a good human. You have to have moral values that is not defined by God.
Thank you. Now let's move on to Dr. Yarini. Dr. Yarini, you have said here in your brief note, in my experience, I have observed that leanings towards an ideology in general often do not carry forward to the second generation. Why do you say so?
No, I mean, let me just start with, my experience, from all
Please.
the experience that I've seen, the one thing that I see is there's a lack of conversations in the household, right? So my awakening with regards to the movement, it came, I'm similar to LRC, I'm a third generation Dravidian, individual. But the first, very in-depth conversation in my household was, and it was about the reservations. I finished my 12th, I was supposed to join my college, and I had the counseling. That is when the topic of reservation came in. I'm really glad that my parents didn't just hand me over the caste certificate. They just didn't tell me which community I belong to. They didn't just stop with that. They made me sit. They explained to me what reservation is, why is it important, and most importantly, the struggle that was behind the reservation. But once I got to the college, that's when I realized that such conversation never occurred, not even among one of my peers in my college. We were 100 in my medical college in my year, but none of them even had a conversation about reservation. At the same time, I also saw how media portrayed reservation. It actually created a cruel paradox in a way that those who availed reservation, I'm pretty sure the students out here, majority of us would have availed reservation. But the media has been portraying reservation in such a bad light that those who avail reservation, they start feeling guilty to an extent that they start feeling inferior about utilizing the constitutional right that has been given to them. So that is when I thought that there's a lack of conversation from,
Do you subscribe to the view that many of them say reservation is a concession given to us,
No.
or reservation is a matter of right for us?
It is definitely a matter of right. There was education, employment was inaccessible. It was made inaccessible to us because of the caste system. So, in order to rectify the damage that has been done in the society, reservation was brought in as a rectifying measure. Again, the Brahmins, they've migrated abroad. After going there, they availed the affirmative action. But then sitting there in the New York or London, they talk ill about the reservation out here. The interesting point is that most of the North Indian medias and also the national medias and the media prints as well, it's been led by the Brahmins. It was actually, at least to a major extent. Even now, it is being handled by the Brahmins. So they constantly put out a narrative saying that the reservation is anti-equality. So that is even today.
No, it is not just Brahmins. What we've seen, many of the upper caste people also,
Yeah.
who were benefited in the earlier generation, now they say that reservation is, system is affecting merit and other things. That is a real ironical.
Yes.
People who fought to get into a train compartment to take a seat, now he occupied the seat and says others, no, don't come in, there is no place.
Exactly.
Right?
That's why Justice Chandrachud, he put out a statement during one of such judgments that, the empowerment is not just about one individual getting, it was actually, the case was about the reservation, the promotions, okay, for the OBCs and the SC/STs. It was about the reservation, the promotions, which was actually denied for the OBCs. No reservation for you for promotion, only for entry you will get reservation. So Chandrachud said, it is not about one individual getting a promotion, but it is about the empowerment and the progress of the community as a whole. So this reservation and promotion is also very essential, for the empowerment of the society as a whole. So there are very few instances where we get judgments which are based on social justice, who understand the society, the realities of the society. And I think we need more of our people in the judgment, to be going as the judges.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. See, very good, very good. I have seen all of them for many, many months, and some of them from their childhood. Incidentally, I met you only today, Sajitra. You are from Bangalore, right? Okay. I was quite surprised when you called me for something else regarding publication of a book. You were talking about the book. I was only thinking about you coming and attending and talking to the people, because you spoke so well about Periyar in those 5 or 10 minutes in our conversation.
Very kind of you, sir.
First, tell me,
Yes, sir.
Tamil varuma?
Tamil varum sir, நான் நாகர்கோவில் sir.
I think she deserves a big round of applause because நல்லாவே கை தட்டலாம். Yeah. Yes. Tell me about, you are definitely, I presumably, you are not the second generation or third generation like Yarini or Yarilaras.
No.
Tell me how did you come across Periyar in this, in this world where people hardly know anything about their own brothers and sisters or even close kith and kin, but how did you come to know about Periyar?
It was a need, sir. Periyar expanded my mind. I'll straight away start with that. I grew up in a panchayat town near Nagarkovil, and we had a homogeneous culture. So, as a child, I did have questions. I did have questions about the norms because there were a lot of restrictions on women. So, wearing pants, that would be a sin. Wearing lipstick would be a sin. So the subservience of a woman, that was a default. That was something that they took for granted. That's how the society operated there. So I did have questions, but I always felt like a misfit for even thinking those questions. I remember I showed my poems to a teacher, and he just coughed and said, "You have so much fire in you, but don't get burnt." So it was when I read Periyar that I felt seen, I felt validated. Because here is a man for whom questioning is not just an act of rebellion, it's an act of responsibility, and nothing was off limits to him. Not even himself. Now I have this quote on my wall which says, "Do not accept anything that contradicts your intelligence or common sense." The Tamil words are, எங்க கேட்டிருந்தாலும் எங்க படித்திருந்தாலும் நானே சொன்னாலும் உன் புத்திக்கும் உன் பொது அறிவுக்கும் பொருந்தாத ஒன்றை நம்பாதே. So he gave me permission. So he gave me permission to question things that were off limits to me, and in that process I understood the world. I made sense of the world. So that's how much Periyar has impacted me.
But how do you think that Periyar's, the ideology?
Yes, sir.
Yes, nearly after 90 years after he has written that very famous book, Periyar
Nadimayanal. Yes, sir.
Since you are translating and giving your commentary to that, I thought I could ask you a question. How, today is relevant those ideas of Periyar? How do you think that will go to the next generation?
Next generation. Absolutely, sir. I believe that Periyar was ahead of times. And we are beginning to understand, we are beginning to comprehend, even when we look at the legal frameworks. In 1929, in his Chengalpet conference, the first resolution was equal property rights for women. It took our government 60 years. When I say our government, I mean Tamil Nadu. It took Tamil Nadu 60 years to get there. It took India 91 years. So the closure to that happened only in 2020. So I don't know whether it would take centuries to even comprehend this man. And when I think of relevancy, the other point that comes to my mind is, we have a working prototype here, sir. We are doing better than most other states. So if I were to look at Dravida Nadu, Tamil Nadu and our neighboring states, when I look at other the states outside, for them social justice is a break. So they think they are doing social justice, and they will think, will we grow in spite of social justice? But in Tamil Nadu, we are growing because of social justice. Social justice is our engine. So the reason being, we invested in our people. That is because of Periyar.
But you are coming from a city which is also equally powerful and well developed, Bengaluru.
Yes, sir.
Then how do you compare the situation in Bengaluru and Chennai?
Okay. For me,
I'm talking about the socio-political situation. How, you are in an IT sector, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
How do people there talk about here? If you see in Tamil Nadu,
yes, sir,
a vegetable vendor or a person in a very high-profile company,
yes,
all of them talk about all these issues that we discussed
yes,
this morning.
Yes.
But I'm just asking about you. What is the situation in Bengaluru?
they need Periyar more than ever. I believe there is still lack of awareness, I would say, in terms of what social justice could do. So I believe we would need to do a better job in showing the results. So Tamil Nadu, we are the second highest GDP across India. We are at 11%, and we are the leaders in healthcare, women, and that's only because our income base is wide. So when other states, the growth is limited, a certain section will grow. So it's like they can't sprint. Your body should be proportionate, and that's the model that Tamil Nadu can show others in terms of how social justice.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sunil. Sunil, I'm just going to continue from where she left. You are also an IT expert.
Yes.
Today you are way ahead of others in the artificial intelligence and other areas. I'm quite surprised because you have time to come here also. My question to you is, you are working with the people from different parts of the country, right?
Yes.
You know many people. Now, from their perspective, how do you look at Tamil Nadu? Because we always say we are top. We are, right? All that it is again, we have to see what is their perception about us. These fellows will always boast about themselves. No, it shouldn't be like that. You tell me.
Okay. Actually, it's a good question. Actually, one of my colleague, he is from Kerala. One day, myself and he had a lunch. He asked the question. Actually, Tamil Nadu is a land of temple. Whenever I see, I'm able to see some temple. But how people, you are choosing the government, the people who are not believing the God, who are hater of religion, how you are choosing that people? He asked the question. Yeah, we are choosing because we have enough maturity to differentiate. Why? Because the Periyar is not the primary fighting is not against God. She is primary fighting for the woman empowerment, social justice, equality. When he ran for his vision, he saw some barrier. That is God. So he want to throw away the barrier. Then he ran for his vision. So one of the famous quote we had. So I called out this quote in front of my friend. Kadavulai mara manidani ninai. So if the only goal for Periyar is to fighting against God, he stopped the quote in between, forget the God, but he is fighting for the humanity. That's why he continuing the quote that remains the human. So he fight for humanity. That's difference. The people from Tamil Nadu are able to differentiate. That's why we are choosing the people who is fighting for social justice, who is fighting for equality, who is fighting for woman empowerment. So that's how the people are seeing us.
Perhaps you may be one of the oldest in this panel, I presume so. Definitely. Okay. Leave me out of that. I'm not part of the panel. My question to you is, how do you think we can reach out and spread the ideology? Because people today, 20, 30, 40 years back was different. People had plenty of time. They take a cycle, ride for 2 kilometers, 3 kilometers, wait and listen to leaders' speeches and all that. Today, everything is real. I know one of my friend here, the other day I saw him, he was listening to an audio at a speed of 3. I said, I couldn't hear at all. He said, I'm waiting for the 4 to come so that I can quickly absorb whatever is told. It's only oddly 1.5 minute audio. He doesn't have a patience. He make it at a 3x speed. How do you think we can reach out to the generation, the Gen Z? What is your suggestion?
Okay. So what I am thinking, I have a idea to make it this. So I want to make the visually making our ideology to reach the audience is very easy compared to writing or speaking. So I have a thought. I have some idea. So create some animation. How Periyar is fighting. So the people are so curious about the animations, right? We need to create more videos, more animations to reach the how we created the Periyar Vision OTT, right? Similarly, we need to create more platforms because the ideology what Periyar explained the 100 years before, that we can speak after 100 years also. Because here vision, his thought process is completely ahead of the centuries, I can say. Still some idea, if I read Penny and Adimayanal today, I'm able to see how I can accept the particular terminology today. I am not able to accept completely, but how that man said before 100 years, then even after 100 years, we are able to follow, we can understand, okay, Periyar is trying to say this. So we need to continuously telling to our generation by visually, instead of only with writings, we need to tell them visually. That's my idea.
Thank you, thank you. Now, I want to ask all the women in this panel. In Pen and Adimayanal, Periyar says, the women as the, we'll start from you. Hold it. Every one of you should answer this question. Listen carefully. In Pen and Adimayanal, he says that women should have her own right to choose when to get married, and women should decide when she should give birth to child, and if need be, she should not hesitate to remove her uterus also. Right? How do you subscribe to that? I don't know how women in those days would have taken that. When one English lady visited Periyar, when I told that, she got shocked. But I want to see your reactions to that. Please start from you. Can you understand? Because you're a schoolgirl, you're not supposed to answer that. Let it go to things. You ready to answer? No. Leave it. Never mind, right? Okay, go ahead. Yes, go ahead.
Okay. So usually people, at least I feel that women are seen as a burden, which is why they want to just give her off to somebody so that it's not their problem anymore. Okay, talking from my experience, for instance, so many of my friends want to color their hair or wear piercings. The only excuse that they're given by their parents is kalyanathu kappra eduvena paniko, because after that it's not their problem, it's the husband's problem. So I think autonomy is very important, that a woman should be able to control what she does to her own body. I mean, as long as it's not dangerous or anything, she should be able to control what happens to her. And I don't think marriage should be seen as an end goal. It should just, if you want to marry, you should be able to marry. Society should not pressure people into marrying and having children, because most of the pressure falls on the woman. And women should not be seen as breeders. They should be seen as people, actual humans who are able to create life.
Thank you. Over to DHRCC, please.
Yes, all these things make us weak. That's why Periyar told us to get rid of that. So those suggestion idea was nowadays we are asking for that in a feministic way. So I agree with that, and that's needed one for.
What about yours? How do you subscribe that?
Yes, sir. It is our rights when to have child, when we have to remove our uterus. No one can control us. It is our body, it is our rights. Simple. That's what Periyar says. You can claim your rights through your voice. நீங்கள் வாய்ஸை ரைஸ் பண்ணி என்னைக்கு பேச ஆரம்பிக்கிறீங்களோ, என்னைக்கு சிந்திக்க ஆரம்பிக்கிறியோ, என்னைக்கு நீ கேள்வி கேட்க ஆரம்பிக்கிறியோ, அன்னைக்கு நீ உன்னையே நீ வந்து புரிஞ்சுக்கிட்ட அப்படின்னு அர்த்தம்.
Fantastic. Yes, doctor.
So, with regards to what Periyar said, I think recently there was a huge controversy going around the uterus issue, basically. So, with regards to the population control, I'll just quote an example from my own family.
Please.
Yeah.
Can you please raise your voice?
Okay. My maternal grandparents, they had 10 children, 6 of whom were girls. My paternal grandparents had 8 children, 4 of whom were girls. Okay, same. Yeah, okay. So this has been the norm in Tamil Nadu, or in fact in India for quite in the early 60s and 70s. So at that point of time, gladly and fortunately, just because my grandparents had the Dravidian leaning, they ensured that the girl children got educated, they got into the jobs. Okay. So all my aunts, right, they have only 2 children right now, maximum. Okay, 1 or 2 children. So that is a transformation not just in my family, but the entire Tamil Nadu. We didn't drag the women to the hospital. We didn't get them sterilized. Okay, but instead we educated them. We gave them the awareness about their own body rights. If the Periyar had not advocated for women education, if Periyar Anna and Kalaignar had not rallied for women education, if Kalaignar had not brought in policies to drag women for girl children to school, we wouldn't have been able to control the population. Today, Tamil Nadu's fertility rate is 1.3, which is far below than that of the entire India. So it was only through education that we are able to do this. Give them the autonomy, give them the awareness of autonomy. I just have a question for the men out here. Those families who are deciding on completing their family, how many men go for vasectomy? None. It's again, the burden is put on the women to go and get another surgery, get your tubes, ligated. So even the childbirth is again not the responsibility of women. It has to be seen as equal. I think Sir is from the north, right? So we have a tendency, we have a practice in Tamil Nadu wherein we have given up a caste surnames. Instead, we go for initials. Okay. So I have a request for the men from the Dravidian fraternity. How many have you, your wife's initial, maybe in the initial of your children? There are very few, right? So again, it should start from our fraternity. I think we'll take it up from here and include the women who's been an equal part in everyone's family and respect them and recognize their efforts.
That's a beautiful suggestion. Yes. Yes, Sarji, your opinion on that.
I'll start with marriage, sir. The reason a woman should choose her own life partner. So Periyar's concept of marriage is a contract between two individuals, but the prevailing societal expectation of marriage, or why a common man marries, is to fulfill their desires, to produce children and acquire a subordinate. Now, all other forms of oppression happens outside our house. There will be aristocracy where the rich oppresses the poor. A certain class oppresses. Patriarchy. So, unless a woman has this right to select a companion who sees her for herself, that's not going to stop. That is one, sir. The other part about having children, again, Periyar's ideology was radical for even today. So he said it was not even for public health. It was for liberty. He said the reason a woman is able to cannot pursue a career, or the reason she feels weak, is because she goes through that cycle. And we were having a conversation. So during those times, it's the same cycle. The woman is either pregnant or she just delivered a kid. So for him to say that this is related to liberty, that was radical. And I'm amazed to see so many young women now adopting that ideology. Women are choosing not to get married. Women are choosing not to produce children. For the sake of liberty. And he also said, there was a question posed to him where, I know I'm going on. There was a question posed to him whether isn't that a moral obligation for a woman to continue the species. He said, not her problem. There is enough issues as it is. Population hasn't solved anything. We are not living aligned to nature. Not our problem. So completely with Periyar, and I'm amazed and I'm glad that many women are choosing that route.
That's an excellent point, but now very interesting to Sunil. You are really in a fix now, because all of them in one voice unanimously agreed and accepted and practicing what Periyar said 90 years back. Now tell me honestly, where are you?
Okay. Actually, in my life, I can split my life into two. Before Periyar, after Periyar. So today, I am living a happy marriage life. That's because of Periyar. Because Periyar called out, treat your life partner as a friend, not as a husband, not as a wife. Treat them as a friend. So actually, the gender equality, Periyar taught me. So in my house, actually my wife don't have an interest to cook. So I used to cook. So I am taking care of household activities. So in my mind, I never have a thought, cooking is a woman's activity, why I am doing. I never have a thought because of Periyar. My relatives insist me, you can ask your wife to learn cooking. Why should I? If she interested, she will learn. Why should I ask her? So my one day my mother-in-law sarcastically called out because of I am holding taking care of household and other. I think my son-in-law feel bad for become a Periyarist because of taking her household activities. Actually, she sarcastically called out, but she was happy because we are living a happy marriage life because we are living as a friend. We are not living as a husband and wife. We are living as a friend because of the thought who taught us Periyar. Periyar is the reason for my happy marriage life.
We are now getting into the last round. A very quick question to all of you. It can start from your side and end here. If I ask you one ideology of Periyar which has impressed you a lot, which one would you say? You know, Periyar has said so many things about not only women emancipation, caste eradication, social justice, atheism, so many are there. Which one impresses you a lot?
Removing the caste name from the surname. Because my grandfather have a caste name as a surname. My father have 5 brothers. No one have a caste name as the surname.
நீங்க முன்னால உட்கார்ந்துட்டு தம்பி பின்னால நிக்கிறாங்க வெளியில நீங்க வந்து பிரிவிலேஜ்டா முன்னால வந்து உட்கார்ந்துருக்கீங்க அவர் பேசுறது புரியல அப்படின்னா சொல்லுங்க நான் தமிழ்ல பேச சொல்றேன் பட் இங்கேயே நீங்க பேசும்போது நான் பார்க்கும்போது எனக்கு ரொம்ப கஷ்டமா இருக்கு வேலையெல்லாம் விட்டுட்டு இங்க வந்து எதுக்கு உட்கார்ந்து பேசணும் இல்ல ப்ளீஸ் தப்பா எடுத்துக்காத carry on please go ahead.
So my father have 5 brothers, so no one have a caste name as a surname. When we have occasionally meeting all of us together, one of my father's brother, they sarcastically called him with a caste name for teasing him. So as a kid we come to know, okay, calling one person with a caste name is a shame. So within a generation Periyar make the changes. My grandfather has a caste name as a surname, but when my father called anyone as a caste name with a surname, I thought it is a shame. Don't call anyone with a caste name. So that is the biggest change. But till now, I am working in IT sector. Everyone from other states, we are calling them with some surname. Only Tamil Nadu don't have any surname.
Excellent,
That's because
excellent,
of Periyar.
excellent.
That is the biggest thing.
Let's ask Saji. Yes.
Yeah, yes.
You don't need to extend what he said.
Yes,
But
yes,
in
of
your
course.
perspective, which one do you consider the
Yes,
most?
sir. So for me, I look at the compassion he had. His anger was never reactionary. For instance, that's something that even now I think a lot. So he was not fighting against something that he was facing. He was an aristocrat. He was well respected. He was a man. And yet this man goes ahead and writes masculinity should die for women to be liberated. So that's what I'm learning from him. I'm trying to think how can I use that blueprint to include people who are not like me. So even within gender, I would say, even within gender, all women don't face the same problems. I was watching Nia Nana and there one elderly woman, she said, she saw a girl and she said, I'm okay marrying my son off to you. And then that girl said that this is her caste. The woman was shocked and then she said, maybe I would need to check back. So then I realized all women are not the same. So how can I include, how can I understand that there are trans women? What is it that we can do for them? There are Dalit women. What is it that we can do for them? Not in sense of how we can lead something. Even Periyar said, all the cats will not liberate the mice. So how can we enable platforms for them, for people who are unlike us and have that righteous anger, not even as a reactionary method, but to include everyone else. That impressed me the most.
Thank you. Now, Doctor.
So it's the core of Periyar's ideology, women empowerment, right? So he was very, very, and moreover, Periyar was quite a dynamic person. He didn't have very strict rules. there's a quote of Periyar in which he says that if there's an issue between, a bigger nation is oppressing a smaller nation, I would support the smaller nation. He goes on to saying, making many examples. At the end, he comes on to say, if a husband is oppressing a woman, I would stand with the woman. So he always had a critical thinking and analyzing capacity of the situation and then taking up a decision. And in that aspect, I saw the inheritors of Periyar's legacy, right? DMK, doing the same thing. The critical thinking of asking the questions of why, for whom, and who decides, right? These three questions, I would actually call them as a Dravidian lens, maybe. It is only through, this critical thinking and using these three questions, we can see a lot of schemes. Today, the gross enrollment ratio for women in Tamil Nadu is around 47, while that of the whole of India is only in the 20s. It will take another 2 decades for India to reach to this, 47. The more interesting fact is the scheduled caste men, their gross enrollment ratio is lower than that of the scheduled caste women. So women are in a better place in Tamil Nadu. It's only because of the Dravidian ideology that pitched in for and prioritized women's education. So I think today, everything, the women of Tamil Nadu or even the India per se, they owe it to Periyar and the self-respect movement.
Excellent, excellent. Yes?
For me, it's definitely feminism. I was reading Penny and Adimayanal today, and one of the chapters talks about how bravery, courage, and anger is assigned to men, and only love and care is assigned to women. I've also had a lot of experience in my life where people have called me a boy. You can fight, you're a boy. The way you walk looks like you're a man. So what? Also, you should not identify confidence with men. I think that's a very...
In fact, it is other way around. To be very honest with you, no, men are not very bold, brave, or with confidence.
I was also called a feminist as an insult. So,
because yesterday, most of us men, we thought that those things would not happen this morning. For example, the abstract. There was only one woman who was very confident and said, "We will bring it, go to sleep well, sir." So she obviously a bravest lot. Yes, yeah.
And I want to share a quote from the Pavendar Baridasan. தொண்டு செய்த பழுத்த பழம் துயதாடி மார்பில் விழும் மண்டை சுரப்பை உலகம் தொழும் மனக்குகையில் சிறுத்தை எழும் அவர்தான் தந்தை பெரியார் அவர்தான் பெரியார் தந்தை பெரியார். In the fourth line itself, we share that மனக்குகையில் சிறுத்தை எழும். So whenever I hear the name, as a woman, whenever I hear the name Periyar, I get a strength and the brave, whatever the situation may be, I can face and I can handle it. So I like to share, I observed self-respect and women empowerment from Periyar, and that's all.
Thank you. Over to Ruku last.
பெரியார் சொன்னாரு சார்,
என்ன சொன்னாரு?
பொண்ணுங்க கையில இருந்து கரண்டியை வாங்கிட்டு புத்தகத்தை கொடுக்க சொன்னாரு. அந்த புத்தகத்தை எங்க அப்பா எனக்கு கொடுத்தாரு. புத்தகத்தை மட்டும்தான் எங்க அப்பா கொடுத்தாரு. ஆனா என் கணவர் அதை என்கிட்ட திறந்து கொடுத்தாரு. எங்க வீட்டில் நாங்கள் 4 குழந்தைங்க, ஒரு ஆண் குழந்தை 3 பெண் குழந்தை. எங்க எல்லாருக்குமே எங்க அப்பா நல்ல ஹையர் எஜுகேஷன் கொடுத்துருக்காரு. நான் இப்போ பிஹெச்டி கம்ப்ளீட் பண்ணியிருக்கேன், தீசிஸ் சப்மிட் பண்ணியிருக்கேன், வைவாக்காக வெயிட் பண்ணுறேன். என் அக்கா பிஹெச்டி கம்ப்ளீட் பண்ணிட்டாங்க, என் தங்கச்சி பிஹெச்டி பர்சீவ் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கா. என் அண்ணன் எங்கள் அப்பாவுக்கு ஈக்குவலாக லாயராக இருக்கான். ஸோ பெரியார் சொன்னபடி நடந்துக்கிட்டா நம்ம லைஃப் வந்து கண்டிப்பாக சேஞ்ச் ஆகும். எல்லாரும் பெரியார் வழியில் வந்து ஃபாலோவாக இருந்தால் நிறைய சேஞ்சஸ் வரும், சொசைட்டியில் வந்து நிறைய வரும். என் சைட்லேருந்து நிறைய பெரியாரை ஃபாலோ பண்ணியும் நிறைய குறைகள் இருக்குது. அதுக்காக நானும் குரல் எழுப்பிக்கிட்டே இருக்கேன். சில விஷயங்களுக்கு ஆசிரியர்கிட்ட கேட்டதும் உண்டு, அதுக்குண்டான பதிலும் அவர் கொடுத்துருக்காரு. இல்லை, நீங்கள் நினைக்கிறது வந்து கரெக்ட் தான், நீங்கள் சொல்கிறது கரெக்டு, ஆனால் அது வந்து சட்டப்பூர்வமாக அதை நிறைவேற்றினா மட்டும்தான் அது முடியும் அப்படின்னு. ஃபார் எக்ஸாம்பிள் நான் கேட்டேன், சார் நானும் என் ஹஸ்பண்டும் வந்து சுயமரியாதை திருமணம் பண்ணிக்கணும்னு இருக்கோம் ஐயா, ஆனால் அது வந்து முஸ்லீம் திருமண சட்டத்தில் வந்து செல்லுபடி ஆகாது, நான் இங்கே வந்து கல்யாணம் பண்ணிக்கிட்டாலும் அது செல்லாதுன்றாங்க, நான் என்ன பண்ணுறது அப்படின்னு. அதுக்கு வந்து நிறைய சட்டத்திட்டங்கள் இருக்குது, அதில் நிறைய பிரச்சனைகள் இருக்குது. பட் திருமணம்ங்கிறது ஒரு பண்ணிக்கக்கூடிய ஒரு விஷயம். அது டு யுவர் முன்னோட புரிதலுக்கு ஏற்ற மாதிரி நீ பண்ணிக்கோ அப்படின்னு சொன்னார். என் திருமணம் எந்த சடங்கு முறையும் இல்லாமல் நடந்தது. எங்கள் அப்பா அம்மா அதுக்கு சப்போர்ட் பண்ணாங்க. என் ஹஸ்பண்ட் அவர் தான் வந்து ஐடியாலஜி, பெரியாரோட ஐடியாலஜிக்கு ஒரு நல்ல ஒரு எக்ஸாம்பிள். நான் என்ன நினைக்கிறேனோ அதுதான் அவர் நினைக்கிறாரு, அவர் என்ன நினைக்கிறேனோ அதுதான் நான் நினைக்கிறேன்.
பெரியார் வந்து உங்க கையில இருந்து கரண்டி தான் வாங்க சொன்னார், மைக் வாங்க சொல்லல. இதான் டைம் ஆயிடுச்சு, அதனால கேட்கணும்
கொஞ்சம். பட் நான் இந்த நேரத்தில் வந்து என்னோட ப்ரொஃபஸருக்கு தேங்க் பண்ணணும்னு நினைக்கிறேன். டாக்டர் எம் தேன்மொழி மேம் ஃப்ரம் குயின் மேரிஸ் காலேஜ் ஃப்ரம் ஹிஸ்ட்ரி டிபார்ட்மெண்ட். ஷீ இஸ் வித் மீ டுடே. தட்ஸ் வை ஐ எம் so strong and brave, because she is in front of me. I thank Tenmuri ma'am for being with me today. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. And one last word. And when we were planning for this symposium, I said we should have definitely one panel discussion involving the youngsters, because all that we talk, all that we discuss is only amongst ourselves, the 40s and 50s and 60s. But it is pertinent that we need to know the perceptions and views of the youngsters, which is very, very important. And I really thank Professor Dr. Armstrong and Madam Dr. Kalai for including this event, because this is very, very important and proved to be very fruitful. Actually, a diverse views from different people, but all converged into one thought that Periyar is relevant not only in the past but today and tomorrow. And I extremely thank you, and especially for you from flying over from Bangalore to Chennai, you, every one of you. Thank you very much for being part of this. Now, just stay for a minute. Professor Dr. Armstrong is there to honor you.
So, on behalf of we are thanking you for this panel discussion. We really enjoyed it and we expressed our thoughts with you. We shared. இதோட முடிஞ்சிடக்கூடாது. இது வந்து வெறும் கிளைகள் தான், நிறைய வரணும்.
இந்த ஸ்கிரிப்ட் நான் எழுதி கொடுக்கவே இல்லை. இந்த ஸ்கிரிப்ட் நான் கொடுக்கவே இல்லை. இந்த ஸ்கிரிப்ட். Okay, go ahead.
My God. No God. It's really very interesting because I request all the panelists, one request I have. Please thank Olivandan with a big round of applause for his coordination. Please make a hashtag why Periyar matters. Okay? After the Oxford, okay, unveiling a portrait of Periyar, I want to make this as a great event in the University of Madras. So try to promote a hashtag why Periyar matters now. Okay? Let us create and let it go global. Okay? That is my kind request. Now I request Professor Tenmali to honor the panelist. Please come, madam. Book. I request Professor Kalaiselvi to honor the second speaker. I request Mr. Dr. Devadas, Pro Vice Chancellor of Priest, to honor one of the panelists. Sir, vaanga mela vaanga Professor. Sir, neengal vaanga. Tommy, eduthacha photo? Give it to the third panelist. Give her a good round of applause. I request Mr. Mita to hand over one book edited by our Austrier in English. Professor Srinivasan sir, a senior professor, to honor our panelists from Bangalore. Mr. Vijay Shankar sir, please. Sir, Thank you so much. எல்லாம் வாங்கிட்டாங்களா?
குரூப் அப்படியே எடுத்துட்டு போங்க.
தேன்மொழி மேடம் வாங்க. தேன்மொழி மேடம். காரப்பன் வாங்க. காரப்பன் ப்ளீஸ்.
செல்போன்ல போட்டோ எடுக்க கொஞ்சம் அப்படியே உட்காந்துருக்கேன் கொஞ்சம். எஸ் எடுப்பா.
We break for tea now. It's in the ground floor. Please come back after 10 minutes for a very vibrant cultural program for about 25 minutes, please. You're most welcome again.
நீங்க முன்னாடி போயிருங்க. ஓகே.
Good evening to everyone gathered here. Before we begin our street play, I would like to briefly share the purpose and essence of this performance with you. We, the students of Social Work Department, University of Madras, stand before you with great pride as we commemorate 100 years of Periyarism, a movement that has shaped the very foundations of social justice, equality, and rational thought in Tamil Nadu. Our street play today is not just a performance, it's a reflection of history, a reminder of struggles, and a call to remember the legacy of Periyar E.V. Ramaswamy. Periyar dedicated his life to challenging inequality, breaking oppressive structures, and advocating for the dignity of every individual, irrespective of caste, gender, or creed. Through this play, we highlight some of the few pivotal reforms inspired by Periyar. The temple entry movement, which questioned the denial of access to worship for marginalized communities and the contradictions that still exist even today. The fight for women's rights, including the recognitions of their right to property and education, which opened doors for women empowerment in our society. The advocacy for liberal rights and rational thoughts, which encouraged people to question blind faith and embrace equality. Periyar's vision was not confined to his time, it remains relevant in today's world, where inequalities and discrimination still persist in subtle and visible ways. As we celebrate a century of Periyarism, let's remember that these reforms were not merely political acts, but moral commitment to justice, equality, and humanity. Our play will take you to the struggles, contradictions, and triumphs, concluding with the lasting message that the spirit of Periyar continues to live in every effort we make towards building a just and equal society. Thank you. Let us now take you into the journey of Periyarism through our performance.
I extend my sincere appreciation to our students for their commendable performance. Also would like to particularly recognize the members of the street play for their dedicated efforts from second year MSW, Ms. Srimati, Ms. Shivaranjani, Ms. Rinjusha, Ms. Kirtana, Mr. Praveen, Mr. Rakesh, Mr. Satish, and from first year MSW, Ms. Lakshmi, Ms. Kavya, Ms. Ganga Mayuri, Ms. Anaga S. Kumar, Ms. Sania, Mr. Ramguru, Mr. Rajesh Kumar, for their active participation and commitment. I am deeply grateful to our esteemed head of the department, Dr. Srinivasan sir, for providing this valuable opportunity to the students to demonstrate their skills. I also wish to acknowledge with gratitude the guidance support of the director of the street play, Mr. Prince NRS sir, along with Mr. Udumalai sir and Ms. Siraivi ma'am. Thank you.
I request Professor Rashid Khan sir. Sir, வாங்க. பிரமிளா இருக்காங்களா? பிரமிளா. தேன்மொழி மேடம் மாரப்பன் நீங்க 3 பேரும் வாங்க. Ma'am, please hand over the gifts to students. Gopu sir, please come. Madam. Union sir, please come. Union sir. Where is sir? Jay Priyan, please come. Jay Priyan. Jay Priyan. மேடம் வாங்க. இது இருக்கா? என்னடா? முடியும்.
Periyar said, art and literature are not for entertainment alone, but for awakening society. Thank you all for your active participation on day 1. Today's session has sparked insightful discussions and deep reflections on enduring values of self-respect, social justice, and cultural identity. Your engagement has truly enriched the dialogue and set a strong foundation for the days ahead. We look forward to welcoming you back tomorrow as we continue to explore these vital themes together. Have a restful evening and be back by 9 o'clock in the morning tomorrow. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.